Chile is a country that stretches over 4,000 kilometers along the edge of the world, a slender ribbon of land trapped between the crushing weight of the Andes Mountains and the vast, indifferent expanse of the Pacific Ocean. Yet, it fits entirely within a single time zone, defying the natural sprawl and longitudinal spread of its neighbors like Argentina or Brazil. It's a land of striking, almost violent contradictions where the driest desert on Earth, the Atacama, a place where some weather stations have never recorded a single drop of rain in human history, meets the jagged, glacial fjords of Patagonia, all held together by a cultural identity that often feels more detached from the rest of the continent than its geography suggests. We're standing in the heart of Santiago, the national capital, where the air is thin, crisp, and carries the faint, metallic scent of mountain snow from the Andes looming just a few miles away. The city is a sprawling, multi-layered labyrinth of glass skyscrapers and colonial remnants, a place that feels simultaneously like a misplaced European capital and a distinctly Latin American hub. You look up and see the granite peaks of the Cordillera, a constant, silent guardian that dictates the climate, the mood, and the very structure of urban life here. It's not just a city, it's a high-altitude experiment in modernization, a metropolis that has fought to pull itself out of the developing world's orbit and into the sphere of the OECD. Santiago feels like a riddle wrapped in steel and glass, a city where the sun sets behind the mountains early, casting long, sharp shadows that seem to swallow the streets. You walk through the Providencia district and the wide, leafy avenues feel strangely reminiscent of Paris or Madrid, with their manicured trees and elegant, mid-century facades, yet the rhythmic honking of cars and the vibrant, chaotic street art tell a different story. This is a place where history is etched into every corner, from the stoic, neoclassical architecture of the Plaza de Armas to the ultramodern Costanera Center, which pierces the clouds as the tallest building in South America. The contrast is jarring, almost surreal. You're in a city that prides itself on its order, yet it sits right on the edge of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a constant reminder that stability here is always just a seismic shift away. Chile is a land of tectonic instability. The ground beneath your feet is restless, a geological reality that has shaped the Chilean psyche into one of cautious preparedness. It's this tension, the desire for rigid, European-style order against the chaotic, untamable nature of the landscape, that defines the Chilean experience. As we delve deeper into how the city functions, you start to notice the clockwork precision of life here. Everything seems to have a place, from the neatly manicured parks that, city like green lungs, such as the massive Parque Bicentenario, to the way traffic flows with a rhythm that feels almost un-South American. The organization isn't just a surface-level aesthetic, it's a social contract. People here value punctuality and structure in a way that's rare in the region. You see it in the government offices, in the way the neighborhoods are divided into neat, logical grids, and even in the way locals interact during daily commerce. There's a formal, almost reserved politeness that surprises many travelers who arrive expecting the boisterous, high-energy warmth of Brazil or the passionate, expressive chaos of Argentina. It's a quiet, methodical society, one that has spent decades trying to build a system that works, despite the immense geographical challenges of being a thin, isolated strip of land trapped between the mountain wall and the sea. This obsession with organization permeates the public transport system, which is arguably the most efficient on the continent. The Santiago Metro is a marvel of urban planning, a sprawling network that moves millions of people every single day with a level of reliability that would put many major European cities to shame. You step onto the train at Baquedano station and you're instantly transported into a silent, clean, and incredibly fast transit experience. It's not just about getting from point A to point B, it's about the seamless integration of technology into the daily grind of the working class. The stations are well lit, the maps are intuitive, and the trains arrive with such regularity that you can set your watch by them. It's a stark contrast to the often unpredictable, aging transit systems found elsewhere in the region. This efficiency creates a different kind of urban rhythm, one where people can actually plan their days with precision, knowing that the commute won't be a variable of chaos. It's a massive advantage for a city of this size, and it's one of the reasons why Chile has become such a magnet for international business and a growing community of digital nomads looking for a base that offers first-world amenities at a global scale. When you talk about security, the conversation in Chile is layered, complex, and deeply historical. While it's widely considered one of the safest countries in South America, often topping regional indices for public safety, there's a persistent, underlying anxiety in the air, a feeling that things could change at any moment. You walk through the affluent neighborhoods of Los Condes and feel entirely at ease, surrounded by luxury boutiques, manicured gardens, and high-end cafes, but then you cross into a different neighborhood and the atmosphere shifts. It's not necessarily dangerous in the conventional, violent sense, but there's a heightened awareness, a constant checking of surroundings that feels deeply ingrained in the local psyche. The police presence, the carabineros, is visible, professional, and often quite stern, reflecting a state that prioritizes order above almost everything else. Yet, the protests that periodically erupt in the streets, most notably the massive social unrest of 2019, remind you that this order is fragile. The tension between the desire for a stable, Western-style society and the deep-seated grievances of the populace regarding inequality and the cost of living is a constant, unresolved thread in the Chilean story. It's a country that is still trying to figure out its own identity, balancing the heavy, sometimes suffocating weight of its authoritarian past with the loud, bright, and demanding calls for a more inclusive, modern, globalized future. Then there's the cost of living, which is another point of contention that frequently shocks visitors. If you're coming from the United States or Europe, you might find prices surprisingly high, especially in the capital of Santiago. This isn't a cheap destination by any means. In fact, it is frequently cited as one of the most expensive cities in the Southern Hemisphere. The cost of dining out, the high rents in the prime, tree-lined districts, and the price of imported goods can match or even exceed prices in major American or European cities. You're paying for the stability, the infrastructure, and the access to international brands that are readily available here. It's a paradox. You're deep in South America, yet your wallet feels like you're in a mid-sized European hub. For many, this is a trade-off worth making for the high quality of life, but it certainly shatters the common myth of the cheap South American adventure. The locals, meanwhile, navigate this reality through a mix of grit and ingenuity, often working multiple jobs or finding creative ways to make ends meet in a high-cost, high-pressure environment. It's a hustle that isn't always visible to the transient tourist, but it's the heartbeat of the local economy. Statistics show that while GDP per capita is high for the region, the wealth gap remains a persistent hurdle, forcing many families to balance the facade of modernity with the harsh reality of household debt. Finally, we reach the culture, which is perhaps the most elusive part of the puzzle. Chileans often refer to themselves as islanders, separated from the rest of the world by the impenetrable wall of the Andes on one side and the vast, cold Pacific on the other. This geographic isolation has forged a unique, somewhat melancholic, yet deeply poetic culture. You see it in the literature of Pablo Neruda and Gabriela Mistral, two Nobel laureates whose works are etched into the soul of the nation. Their poems capture the rugged landscape, the sea, and the loneliness of the Chilean spirit. It's a culture that values introspection, dark, dry humor, and a deep, almost spiritual connection to the land. They are a people who have learned to live with the constant, nagging threat of earthquakes and the harshness of the terrain, resulting in a resilience that is both stoic and incredibly warm once you break through the initial, characteristic reserve. The food, too, is a reflection of this environment, heavy on fresh seafood pulled from the frigid Humboldt Current, hearty stews like cazuela, and the ubiquitous Dowie empanada, a staple that binds the country together from the arid north to the icy south. But as you sit in a quiet cafe in the bohemian Bella Vista neighborhood, listening to the muffled sounds of the city, the distant hum of the metro, and the rustle of leaves, you have to ask yourself, is this really European? Or is it something else entirely? The more you travel through the lush valleys and the coastal towns, the more you realize that Chile doesn't fit neatly into any simple, convenient category. It's not just a copy of a European nation, nor is it a carbon copy of its neighbors. It's a hybrid, a unique experiment in geography and culture that has created something entirely its own. And yet, there is one place, hidden deep in the southern reaches of the country, where the European influence is so literal, so jarringly preserved, that it makes the modernity of Santiago feel like a distant, hazy memory. It's a town where the houses look like they were plucked from a Bavarian forest and dropped into the middle of a temperate, misty rainforest. You see wooden shingles, steep gabled roofs, and German-language signs that have stood for over a century. Why would a community choose to recreate a homeland that is thousands of miles away? And why does this strange, architectural ghost town continue to haunt the Chilean landscape even today? It is a testament to the fact that in Chile,